Well, for a little bit more on this, we're now joined via Zoom by political analyst and governance expert Sandile Swana for more on this conference. Sandile, always good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. So the voting is done. Could there be some surprises, or do you think that by and large those that are expected to win will likely come through?
Well, that is a big question by itself, because traditionally people expect the incumbent to win, which is Sihlezi Galala in this case. But as I sit here today, I'm asking myself whether his reading of KZN politics and his fit within those politics is good enough, because there's a big figure looming over KZN, the figure of Jacob Zuma. It appears that there's a general understanding that if you want to succeed in KZN, somehow you must portray a favorable disposition towards Zuma, which goes against the renewal message of the African National Congress. So that is the tricky part.
How did things change? Because Sihlezi Galala was seen as someone aligned to the former president and has been seen even since supporting him, but not really being embraced as someone who's wholehearted about his support. Is that a fair interpretation?
I think that even Cyril himself would project a public image of being in support of Jacob Zuma and as a brother, an elder brother and a comrade. But at the same time, opening the doors for the Hawks and everybody else to take pot shots at him. So Sihlezi Galala in the province of KZN is not seen, other than by himself and maybe those who are close to him, as some kind of supporter of Jacob Zuma. Even if he is a supporter of Jacob Zuma, he's not supporting the most important part, which is to get Zuma off the hook of the judiciary, off the hook of the NPA, off the hook of the police in general. So that is the problem, that unlike in the days of Kgalema Motlanthe, who took extraordinary steps to take Zuma out of the claws of justice, closing down the Scorpions, firing NPA heads, the likes of Vusi Pikoli, just scattering everybody and letting Jacob Zuma go free. And that is what Zigalala, the likes of Ramaphosas, them are unable to do right now. And if you are unable to do that, you cannot be a supporter.
So the last election, he was elected unopposed. He's got a contestant this time around. People talk about this division, and I just wonder what caused the division in the province over the years. Is it policy or is it personalities? Is it to RET or not to RET? What is the divide?
At this juncture, no matter which way you want to approach it, I mean, the song that was sung there, it sent a clear message. Wenzeni uZuma? What is this wrong thing that Zuma has done? You've sent him to prison. He's gotten some form of parole. We are chasing him down on that parole. Building country, we're chasing him down for improving his household, etc., etc. So there is no serious political difference. And the politics, regardless of which political party you belong to, right now the politics are almost irrelevant, because the issue here is service delivery. If you wanted to talk politics, you just got to reduce it to say, can I get the power stations to work? Can I get the water to work? Can I get the sewage system? It's as simple as that. So there's no big politics in South Africa right now that you can talk about. So the issue that is dividing KZN is the imprisonment of Jacob Zuma, as well as the prosecution and imprisonment of a number of comrades who are in the pipeline for prosecution in KZN and in other provinces. That is the dividing line in KZN and in the ANC in general.
So are those that are aligned with the former president suggesting that President Ramaphosa has the ability to pick up the phone and say to the police, go and arrest this person, to say to the MPA, go and prosecute this person, don't prosecute that person, because that would be what needs to happen to lay blame on a certain faction within the party.
No, that is not how they used to do it. Obviously, this version, your version, is the version that got Thabo Mbeki fired, that version. But that is, I don't think that is the problem. The problem is when you don't deliver like Halima Muthlante did. The cases are in the hands of the NPA, the Hawks, and so on, more especially the NPA and the Hawks and South African police. Halima Muthlante was able in this time to actually scatter those entities and take a comrade out of their clashes, and Jacob Zuma being the typical case study of that, where Halima Muthlante set up two committees that were designed specifically in the light of Mwako Ramatloti, Lindy Sisulu, Judge Velem Heath, Tony Yengenwe, those committees that were designed specifically to loosen the hands of the justice system around Jacob Zuma. And that is the thing that Cyril Ramaphosa and his cabinet and whoever else has got to do right now. That is what is being demanded from them, and that is what they are unable to do. And that is where the conflict is coming from.
So every time I hear what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal, I can't help but think about the Republican Party in the United States, where you have a former president in Donald Trump, who seems to continue to have influence in the party, and the people in the party are not quite sure how they can carry on without aligning themselves with the former president. Is this the situation in KwaZulu-Natal, that whoever wins has to find a way to somehow manage this support that the former president continues to have and influence that might bring?
The short answer to your question is yes. And they are serious, and to take Jacob Zuma lightly is a mistake. Any one of us who takes Jacob Zuma lightly is mistaken. You know, I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day itself this year. I got a call from one of the major intellectuals, academics that I respect from that region, KZN. And we probably spent 2 hours on the phone. And he was explaining to me from a KZN native's perspective that this whole thing of Jacob Zuma must be dropped. Jacob Zuma must be left alone. So what it means is that Jacob Zuma has got support even amongst the intelligentsia of KZN. And that in itself is a problem, a big, big, big problem. Once a person has got the support of the intelligence, you have a problem.
Some people are looking at this conference perhaps as a yardstick, a measure, litmus test for the national conference. If they don't find a way to come out with some kind of unified voice, that is what we're going to see at the national conference. Is that fair, or a lot still can happen in other parts of this ANC machinery?
The idea of unity, perhaps, which is what we are trying to get to, whether there's a time that we can say now they are united, the ANC members are united. That time is not going to come because what is being demanded from the dominant faction, which is the Ramaphosa faction, the Ramaphosa faction has got no capacity to deliver what is being demanded of them. And the other faction, whatever you call it, parity and so on, is going to fight to the last man standing in the most brutal fashion that has ever been seen since 1994. So the events of the conference of 2024, to me, are only going to get the ANC into a bigger mess, regardless of the outcome of the election. The mess will be bigger after the election.
All right, so what does this mean for the IFP and these other parties? Is that going to be a gain for as long as the ANC remains divided? Do people say, look, we don't know what to do here. We're going to look for help somewhere else for our daily issues?
Yes, I think that if you were to meet the leaders of the IFP in KZN, they walk with a hop in their step. They are chest up, with chest out, very confident. Even the DA is starting to have confidence in KZN. The EFF is doing very well in KZN. And the way that they get even more votes is not only the defections in their favor, but the non-voters of the ANC. When the ANC voters just stay at home, then it's a Christmas day. It's really works very well for the other parties in KZN and elsewhere.
All right, Sandile Swana, I'm sure that there'll be lots to talk about tomorrow morning once all the counting is done. We're still waiting to hear what the results are, but thanks so much for your insights, as always. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's political analyst Sandile Swana. We're hoping, we're hearing that we might be getting the results around about 11 o'clock this evening. So we'll keep monitoring that story for you. So they're counting, the voting is done. They're counting now and results expected around about 11. Stay with us.